The Adventure of Tum Tum. Last night I dreamed we had a child. Signed, the farmer wives, but he was no bigger than a pencil. I did not mind if we're no bigger than my Tombo, cried the farmer. I do so wish that we had a child. In the twinkling of an eye, a tiny boy appeared, and the farmer's boy was no bigger than the farmer's thumb, and he appeared by magic. The farmer's wife made the boy a bed out of a teapot and seaweed, clothes were made out of colored ribbons. The farmer made child colored balls from dried peas, and both out of walnut shell. The farmer and his wife were so happy, and they called their tiny child Tom Thumb. One bright day, the farmer had to take his horse and cart to market to fetch some hay, but he wasn't feeling very well. His wife told him to rest, but the farmer said, I must go to market today or we shall have no hay for the animals. Suddenly Tom Tom piped up, Sit me in the horse ear, and he said, I will drive the horse to market when I want the horse stop. I'll shout, Whoa, and when I want the horse to trot, I'll shout, Giddy up. So the farmer sat Tom in the horse ear. The people who saw the cart passing couldn't believe their eyes. They thought the horse and cart were driving magic. Tom Tom drove the cart all the way to market and back home again. With the hay, the farmer, his wife, so pleased with her tiny child that she baked in a tiny cookie. One day, two men saw Tom Tom sitting on a toadstool near the farmer who was chopping wood. And I'll give you a gold coin for a tiny imp, offered one man. So the man gave the farmers a gold coin, picked up Tom and set him on his hat brim. Tom had fine view from the hat brim as the men walked along talking, but when he heard the man was going to sell him at the fair, Tom grew frightened. So when the man took his off, Tom jumped off the brim and ran away. The next day, after a long walk, Tom arrived home. The farmer and his wife were so pleased with him. But later in that day, Tom had an accident. He was climbing on the wall of a kitchen table when he slid down a spoon fell straight into a pudding mixture in the bowl. The farmer's wife didn't see Tom put in pudding in a bag to cook it. Next, the farmer's wife put the pudding bag into a pot that was simmering on the fire. She began to jump up, down, inside the pudding bag. It was so hot, the farmer's wife, not knowing that Tom was inside, there was something wrong with the pudding, so she gave it to passing tinker. He was worried that he might be eaten by mistake, but luckily Tom was able to escape with her. The tinking opened the bag, and by evening he was back home again. At the twistled swayed to a fro, and Tom sang. A beautiful blue butterfly came along. It's too hard to hear Tom singing and like the sound, so blue butterfly hovered near Tom as he sang and listened to the song. Tom smiled at the butterfly and seemed butterfly to smile back at Tom. Then one of the cows came along to where Tom was sitting on the thistle. Could you teach me to sing? Asked the cow. I'll try, said Tom, but first you'll need to think of the tune you like to sing. Very well, said the cow. I think I like to sing. Hey diddle diddle. But when the cow opened its mouth to sing, it blew Tom straight off the thistle into the grass. As Tom Tom scared the trot, the grass looking for him. The farmer's wife, an eagle saw him. To the eagle, Tom looked as small as a mouse, so it swooped down and plucked him out of the grass. Suddenly, Tom felt him flying through air at great speed. The eagle flew on and on until Tom could see only the sea below. Help, please, put me down, cried Tom. The eagle was so amazed to hear him speak that it dropped Tom in surprise. Poor Tom fell with a splash straight into the sea. The water was very deep and very cold. Help, cried Tom, I can't swim. Tom swallowed a lot of salty water and felt him sinking. I'm drowning, he choked. I'll never see the farmers or his wives again. I do wish I hadn't tried to teach that cow to sing, and I wish could be saved just this once. Just then, Tom was swallowed by a great big fish. Tom didn't feel very well at all. He had swallowed so much water inside the fish. It was so cold and dark. He was just about to take his boots off when the fish was caught by a fisherman. Suddenly, the fish was pulled shot out the air and onto the stove. My goodness, who are you? Cried the cook. I've never seen anyone so small. My name is Tom Tom, said the Tom, and who, may I ask, are you? I'm the king. The man. Are you just climbed out of the kingfish? I must show you to king and queen. The cook put Tom on a plate and presented him to king and queen. Excuse me, your majesty, said the cook, but look what I found inside the royal fish. The queen clapped her hands with delight as Tom bowed to the royal family, and the king said, will I never. Tom bowed again. Your majesty, he said, my name is Tom Tom. I'm the son of a poor farmer and his wife, who live many miles from here. Tom went on. I've had lots of adventures. I've dined with a mouse, and I have sat in the ear of a horse. Now I just like go home. And so you shall promise the king. Thank you very much, your majesty, said Tom. King invited the farmer and his wife to the palace to collect Tom and gave him a magnificent dollhouse to live as a special present. Later, Tom Tom entered the royal children and told them about his adventures. The following day, he returned home with the happy farmer and the end.